Hello, salutations. I'm here to ramble about IEB November 2023's paper 1, question 10b. And I've recorded a couple of videos today and gotten every single question wrong. So I would like to break that streak by getting this one right the first time around. Okay. For a quadratic sequence, the following information is given. The difference between the second term and the first term is 4. The difference between the third term and the second term is 7. And the 10th term is 0. Okay, then you're asked to determine the nth term of this quadratic sequence. Okay, so just right off the bat, with quadratic sequences, I've kind of spoken about this in another video, which you can find on my channel. It's called Quick Tips Quadratic Patterns or something like that. But this is where I just talk about, like, what are the things that should be front and center in your mind when you're asked to figure out a problem concerning quadratic patterns. So the first thing is that the rule for a quadratic pattern looks something like this. And all that changes is what A is, and what B is, and what C is. And the next important thing is this little tree connecting term 1, term 2, term 3, maybe even term 4. The first differences, which is just the differences between the terms, and then the second differences, which is the differences between the first differences. I do not know that tree off by heart, so I always generate it on the fly, which I think is quick enough. So first I generate, term 1, term 2, term 3, and term 4. So that'll be A times 1 squared plus B times 1 plus C. So that's A plus B plus C. And this is A times 2 squared plus B times 2 plus C. So that's 4A plus 2B plus C. And the next one is A times 3 squared plus B times 3 plus C, which is 9A plus 3B plus C. And then term 4, which is just the bonus, is that, which is 16A plus 4B plus C. And honestly, by like term 3, you already kind of see like what the gist of things is, so you don't actually have to like go through, manually writing that out. Okay, so I'm just going to shrink that and put that in some corner. My goodness. Are we working together or are we not? That's all I want to know. Shrink it even more. Okay, right. So now we can draw our little tree. So we have our sequence, which is A plus B plus C. The next term is 4A plus 2B plus C. The next term is 9A plus 3B plus C. And the last, well, not the last term, but the fourth term is 4, that. Okay, then we can work out our first differences. So how much am I adding to get from there to here? So I'm adding 3A and a B. And to get from here to here, I'm adding 5A plus B. And to get from here to here, I'm adding 7A plus B. Okay, and then we look at our second differences. So how much am I adding here to get to that? I'm adding 2A. And likewise from here to there, I'm adding another 2A. Okay, so that's a very, very, very important thing to know about quadratic patterns, is that the second difference is constant, and it is always going to be 2 times whatever A is. And what we usually use is the first difference, which is 3A plus B. That can come in handy. But yeah, as we'll see with this question, it actually hops around a little bit in terms of, which parts of the pattern it talks about. So let's write these bits of information in terms of A, B, and C, because ultimately, in order to figure out what the nth term is, these are the unknowns. We want to figure out what A, B, and C are. So 3 unknowns means, you need 3 pieces of information to figure out what A, B, and C are. And not just any 3 pieces of information, 3 good pieces of information. I just feel like I always have to give that disclaimer. Right, so the first piece of information says the difference between term 2 and term 1, which is this guy over here, is 4. So that's our first equation. So 3a plus b is equal to 4. Okay, then the second piece of information says the difference between term 3 and term 2, which is this guy, okay, is 7. So 5a plus b is equal to 7, right? And then finally, T10 is 0. So we don't have that in our little tree, but very well. T10, okay, would just be a times 10 squared plus b times 10 plus c. A, C, my goodness. Okay, right, and that is 100a plus 100a plus 10b plus c, and we're told that that's equal to 0. And this actually, this here is actually a good thing that they kind of threw that into the question, because even if you didn't have our beautiful tree at your disposal, the point of being given information like this is for you to figure out how to express it as an equation in terms of A, B, and or C. So, you would take the T3, figure out what it is in terms of A, B, and C, take the T2, figure out what it is in terms of A, B, and C, minus the T2 from T3, and that would give you an expression for this difference in terms of A, B, and C that you can then equate to 7, and likewise for the first piece of information. Okay, I think this eraser is just a bit aggro sometimes. Oh, it took everything. Anyway, okay, I'm not gonna fight. Right, so we now have 3 equations in terms of A, B, and C. The easiest ones to solve is this subset, right? Because it just has A and B. Whereas this last equation has a C going on. So we're just going to park that for 2 seconds and solve these simultaneously. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I absolutely favor... Okay, wait, let me just make it clear what we're doing here. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2, and this is equation 3. So we are going to subtract. So let's say equation 2 minus equation 1, or the other way around. I just want it this way around so that the 5a is at the top, So, right, we are going to say minus that. And what does it give us? It gives us 2a. We are still in pencil. 2a, the b's cancel out, is equal to 3. We can then divide by 2 on both sides, right? So we get a is equal to 3 over 2, which we can then substitute. So sub a is equal to 3 over 2 in whichever equation makes your heart happy. So I'm going to choose equation number 1 and put my a in there, and we get 9 over 2 plus b is equal to 4. 9 over 2 is 4.5, so this has to be minus a half in order for us to get to 4. Okay, so now we've got a and b. Awesome. All we need to figure out is c, and we can do that by putting both these two into that equation over there. So sub A is equal to 3 over 2, B is equal to negative a half into that last equation. So we have got 100 times 3 over 2 plus 10 times negative a half plus C is equal to 0. Okay, so if we work that out, that is 150 minus 5. So that's 145 plus C is equal to 0, and therefore C must be negative 145. So all in all, this quadratic pattern is something like this. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, if you have time in your exam, always worthwhile to just double check. So what I would do for this double check is I would literally just calculate the first 10 terms. I don't think it should be hard. So the first term, so yeah, definitely something you only want to do if you have time. Otherwise, trust, if you have a good feeling about how you worked everything out, and then if you have time at the end, you can just come and do these like nice to haves. So for this, I'm just going to work out like the first 4 terms like this, and then from there I'm going to use like the first differences to figure out what comes next. So so what's happening is that here we are adding 4, and then we add 7, and then we add 10. So next we're going to need to add 13, so that will be negative 110. Then we'll have to add 16, so that will be negative 94. And then we'll have to add 19, which will take us to negative 75. And then we'll have to add 22, which will take us to negative 53. How many terms are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost there. Then we have to add 25. So that will be negative 28. And then we have to add 28, which gets us to 0. Woohoo! So term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4, term 5, term 6, term 7, term 8, term 9, term 10. Yay! Okay, so that is congruent to what we were initially told. Awesome. The difference between term 3 and term 2 is 7. Yep, that we've already seen. And the difference between the first 2 terms is 4. Okay, so I have a good feeling about this one. If I've gotten it wrong again, I think I'll call it. So yeah, 3 over 2n squared minus a half n minus 145 is our Tn. Awesome. So yeah, I hope this is a nifty little tool for you in approaching your quadratic pattern questions. A nice 4 or 5 marks to score relatively easily.